Welcome to the King's Corner. I am the King Fan Man, and the King Fan Man Radio is back on the air. This is KingsCast Episode 2, and it's all about peer pressure. Yes, you heard me right, peer pressure, but this is Fallout 4 peer pressure. You're not going to want to miss this one. You're not going to hear this stuff anywhere else, so stay tuned. But first, I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Wolfman's back with us. How are you doing, sir?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing wonderful. So glad you joined me again.
As always.
It is a pleasure to have you here. Now, before we begin, I do want to get down to some business before we get down to business, as they say. We are giving away a King Fan Man t-shirt.
Really?
Yes. Wow. This wonderful t-shirt you see me wearing tonight. Isn't that gorgeous?
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you don't have one, do you?
No, I don't. Can I win this one?
No, you can't win this one either.
Gummit.
Now, if you would like a King Fan Man t-shirt like I'm wearing tonight and like Mr. Wolfman wants, all you have to do is two things. Hit that subscribe button and comment in this podcast. Say something nice, please. And then simply say, I would like a t-shirt. And then you are qualified to win. And again, we're going to give that away June 10th. Now, with that business out of the way, let's get down to business. Before we get into Fallout 4, I will add, we are also going to talk, there's been a lot happening with Bethesda in the last few days.
That's an understatement.
Absolutely. With the Rage 2 leak by Walmart, with all the pictures that they've been tweeting, with Starfield rumors and trademarks being updated. So if you are more interested in E3, we're going to talk about that the latter half of the podcast. So I would say fast forward, but please don't, because you're really not going to want to miss what we're about to talk about. So let's get down to Fallout 4 peer pressure. What in the world do I mean by Fallout 4 peer pressure?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure you're going to tell me.
I am going to tell you, and I have to tell you right off the bat, I'm probably going to rant just a little bit tonight. But this is something that has needed to be said for a long, long time. Now, Fallout 4 is a game that I love, and I'm going to say that right off the bat. I am a fan man. I'm not a fanboy, but I am a fan man. I love the game, and I hate all the negativity that is surrounding this game, but the negative stuff about Fallout 4 has not always been there. Did you notice that?
Really?
When the game first came out, it had mostly, and when I say mostly, it was almost exclusively good things were said about it.
Didn't it have a better score than Skyrim a lot of places?
Yes, many of the reviews actually were better than that of Skyrim. Very good point, Wolfman. See, I have you here for a reason. That is very good.
One of my two.
Let me give you some information. Number one, let's start off with Metacritic. Now, Metacritic, Fallout scored an 84.
It's pretty good. Out of 100, right?
Out of 100, absolutely.
Some reason I thought 1,000 for a minute, and I was like, that can't be right.
Now, this score was actually better at first, but let me talk about this score for a minute. The 84 is by professionals, okay? These are people that review games for a living.
Okay.
You understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I didn't know if you were going farther with that.
No, I'm just kind of pausing, as my father said, for the cause, so you could think about what I'm saying, because what I'm about to hit you with is where this all goes downhill.
Is it going to hurt?
This might hurt you a little bit. It hurts my heart just a little bit. On Metacritic, the 84 for Fallout is by professionals. Guess what people like normal players, like you and me, score Fallout 4?
92, 93.
No, they scored it a 5.5. Now, there's another pause for the cause. I want you to think about that. The professional score was an 84. The player score was a 5.5.
Okay. This is on Metacritic, right?
That's on Metacritic. Now, again, in the beginning, it was much higher.
Well, what was it in the beginning?
Well,
define what you mean by beginning.
Okay, let me tell you a little bit of how Metacritic works. Metacritic, you can go in, you can leave your... you can give it a star count, or you can give it a number count. You can tell what you thought about it and post your review, okay?
It's like Rotten Tomatoes, kind of.
Absolutely. And you can go back in and change your review, by the way.
Or Yelp.
Well, when it first came out, it was getting great numbers across the board, both by professionals and by players. But then something started happening.
Oh, no.
Peer pressure started happening.
Pressure. It sounds like high school all over again.
Now, before I talk about this peer pressure, do you think Fallout 4 is a bad game? I'm just going to get your opinion because I've already said I love the game.
No, it's a wonderful game. Are there ways it can be improved on? Yes, but that's what mods are there for. But as a base game, I think it's one of the better of this generation.
Well, I mean, the same could be said about Skyrim. Is Skyrim a perfect game? Absolutely not. I love the game. It's a wonderful game. It's not perfect. Fallout 4 is the same way. Of course, I can see some problems with it or some things that need to change, but that's not my problem. My problem is this peer pressure that has driven the negative idea about Fallout 4, and it's made it gone wild, and Metacritic is just one example. Let me give you some more examples, and you're going to see this. It's crazy.
Really?
IGN. Mr. Dan Stapleton gave it an endorsement. Now, I don't know what you think about IGN, but it's a very professional company. That
well-renowned.
Not company, but you know what they are. This is what he entitled his review, a glowing endorsement, and he gave Fallout 4, are you ready, a 9.5.
It's a near perfect.
That is a near... Oh, I'm glad you used those words, because those words are going to come back in just a moment. Yes, he scored it a near perfect game. In fact, he said that this game was near perfect. Now, Metacritic 84 by professionals. Again, that was higher at the beginning. IGN scores it a 9.5. Tell me, what is the problem? Why are people scoring it a 5.5? I'll again say, is Fallout 4 that bad, or is something going on within the community?
I think it's something within the community after these scores you've said.
Absolutely. Now, let me bring that near perfect back in there, and I hope this person doesn't get mad at me because I respect him very much. There is a man on YouTube that does a lot of Bethesda work. You've probably heard him. Maddie Plays. Mr. Maddie Plays is the YouTube channel. Very good channel. Wonderful information about Bethesda. And he reviews games. This is something that he does. Okay? You get that. He's not a refrigerator repairman. He actually reviews games.
He's not
okay?
your friend Rob from down the street that you never talk to.
Absolutely. And again, he's one of the most respected Bethesda YouTubers there is out there. He reviewed this game, and guess what he said about it?
It's a near perfect game.
He used those exact words. Yes, it is a near perfect game. And he did this right at the beginning, okay? He did this right after it came out. This was one of the, other than the IGN review, one of the first reviews I heard. It's a near perfect game. I thought it was a wonderful review that he gave. But now this is what happened. This is where the peer pressure kicked in. A few people within the community started grumbling about Fallout 4, saying some pretty negative things about it, saying that it wasn't near the game that Fallout New Vegas was, that it wasn't even near the game that Fallout 3 was, that it didn't have enough RPG elements. Go ahead.
Let's just start on the first month or two of gameplay. Fallout New Vegas, if you remember, had a few game-breaking glitches in it that made it really hard to play. That Fallout 4, it had its glitches from time to time, but nothing near New Vegas had.
Well, don't get me started on New Vegas. New Vegas is now the golden child of Fallouts, and I love Fallout New Vegas. It may actually be my favorite, and I hate to even admit that because it's become the popular thing to say, you see.
It has.
By peer pressure, the popular thing to say is, Fallout New Vegas is the best, and people are saying that hadn't even played Fallout New Vegas. It makes me angry. Anyway,
I bet you that's what they're going to say about Fallout 4 when Fallout 5 comes out.
Not to be ugly about the young generation out there, but
watch it here.
There are some tweeners. Do you know what a tweener is?
I'm just past that.
Yeah, they're not even a teenager yet, and they say, Fallout New Vegas is my favorite. Well, they weren't even around when Fallout New Vegas was popular, so, oh well. See, hey, I'm being mean tonight, aren't I?
They were milk drinkers, as the companion said, okay? They had just gotten into Mario and, I don't know, Pokemon.
I know, I shouldn't be mean, but when you're saying that Fallout 4 is not near the game that Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas is, at least play those games before you say that, okay? But this is where it gets bad. A few people that did know, that didn't like Fallout 4, and that's fine. If you don't like Fallout 4, that's fine. I'm not telling you...
It's not a game for everybody.
I'm not telling you have to feel like I do about it, okay? But it started becoming the popular thing to say, okay?
You did start seeing the reviews. They had stay incline for a while, and then they just started dropping.
Then they started steadily going down because of peer pressure. With Facebook, with Twitter, with the social media, YouTube, the way it is, when people start hearing something, they start thinking, oh, this is the way I'm supposed to think. and they start doing it. Well, let me go back to Mr. Matty, okay? The one that gave it a...
perfect.
It was a near perfect game. Well, he got some hate for that, okay? He got people that were saying that he was a fanboy and everything else. So
It sounds like he's on the internet, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I wonder how this happens.
So he actually tried to appease these people that were talking and did a new review that was much more critical of Fallout, but yet still of Fallout 4, but yet still tried to defend it. And there were two YouTubers especially, and I'm not going to mention their names, but they gave him immense hate, even releasing videos about him personally, calling him a fanboy and everything else. And since then, he's even tried to be more critical about Fallout 4. Again, I respect him. I love his stuff, but I think he should have stayed strong and said that this is what I think about Fallout 4. I like it, but I believe he and everyone else got caught up in Fallout 4 peer pressure, and I believe that's where I believe that's where we sat. As you saw, the Metacritic score drop from the high 80s all the way now down to 5.5. That's ridiculous. That's stupid, and it's crazy.
Yes, it is, but now as I'm still in high school, but I still have a group of friends that we talked about before the game came out. A few of them got before I did, and we'll still talk about it. Now they started going downhill with them for a while, but the more we talk about it, the more the scores keep going up with us. We start talking about it more.
So in other words, you saw the same things that I'm talking about.
Yes.
You actually
firsthand.
You actually heard them, and this is what gets me. People will start, if you know anything about politics, politicians have certain key points, or, what do they call them? I've gone blank. But talking points. They will have talking points that no matter what you ask them, they're going to hit their talking points. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I'm very well aware.
They won't answer you straight. They're going to hit their talking points. You listen to people on social media, and even like you're saying, your friends, you will hear them spouting the same talking points that they hear on YouTube of the people that are hating on Fallout 4.
Which, granted, the points they give, they are strong points against the game, but that's when you hear the same 5, 6 over and over again, that's not saying the game's bad, that's just saying it has a few, and you can't find anything else wrong with the game. If you have to keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, multiple videos, multiple conversations, that's saying it's pretty hard to find something wrong with the game if you have to keep going back over and over again.
Absolutely. Now, I cut you off, and I want to hear what you were saying. You were actually talking about your friends that were kind of getting on that hate train. I'm going to call it the hate train, okay? There is a hate train against Fallout 4. And let's derail that hate train tonight. You want to?
Sure, let's derail.
It's been going on for way too long, okay? So you heard some of the hate train, and the more you talked to them, it actually started changing their mind?
Well, they never hated. We started getting deeper into the game, and we're all in high school. We don't have jobs or anything, so we would play the game for hours after we got home from school.
I meant to talk to you about getting a job, but go ahead.
Hey, we'll talk about this later. Anyway, so we would talk about it for, during lunch and during 7th period, during history class when we had nothing to do, and we'd just talk about things we did in the game, and we would talk about the points because we all had played Fallout 3 in New Vegas, and we all loved the RPG elements. Our ones of us will play some Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy, some other stuff that are more chess kind of games than RPG, but they're still RPG storytelling games. So we'll talk about that, but as we went on, they started doing that, and later on through the end of the year, last 2 years, we've started talking better about the game. We've started talking about our favorite parts and everything that we want to bring to the next game, and just it's overall started to get better again as we've gotten out of the valley. We're starting to climb back up the mountain once again.
Very good, very good. And we really should focus on the good, but I want to first talk about some of the negatives that people talk about. And let's really see if we can derail the hate train. Because some of the major things that they say against Fallout 4, and you mentioned one of them, let's talk about those RPG elements. I have heard that until I'm sick of it. There's not enough RPG in Fallout. Well, the same people that say that love Skyrim, and Skyrim has just as little RPG as Fallout 4.
Even less if you think about it, because think about all the different endings and how the endings in Fallout, not depending on the faction you choose, depending on one choice in that faction, it'll have how many are there? 8 different endings in Fallout?
There's a lot.
There's a lot of endings in Skyrim.
Don't make me do math.
This is the weekend. What do you mean math? Anyway, in Skyrim, you can join the Dark Brotherhood, the Companions, Thieves Guild, people that will hate each other normally.
But yet you can join.
You get the same dang ending every time.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not core RPGs. That's not what they're meant to. They're meant to be sandbox games, and they're supposed to immerse you in the world, but they have RPG elements. They're not pure RPG games.
Absolutely. And if you know anything about Bethesda, Bethesda has always been that way, and now it's become that let's start hating on Bethesda because of it. The people that loved Fallout 3 now hate on Bethesda because it's not enough RPG, and Obsidian is the only one that knows how to do RPG. Well, I hate to tell you,
none of them are there anymore.
Obsidian does not exist anymore the way you know Obsidian. Now, I know, yes, they're still putting out Pillars of Eternity, but the ones that did Fallout New Vegas are not there anymore. Chris Avalon was the last one that left, and
isn't he a freelancer for Bethesda now?
Absolutely, he's working a lot for Bethesda now. In fact, he did the story, most of the story for Prey. Yes, he sure did. So these people that keep crying, "Oh, I want Obsidian to do another one." Number one, Bethesda's not going to do that. Number two, the Obsidian that you say you love so much is not even there anymore. But those RPG elements that people say, oh, they were just missing from this Fallout, you need to really go back and play Fallout 3 again and Skyrim again and just see if you can see more RPG elements. Now, I can hear people screaming at their phones, their tablets, their computers, or their TVs right now and saying, yes, but Fallout New Vegas had them. Did Fallout New Vegas have more RPG than Fallout 4 and Fallout 3? I would even confess, yes, it did. That is something that Obsidian does very strong. Well. They do very strong. Fallout New Vegas has its strengths, but it also has some terrible weaknesses. Now,
shooting.
Oh, my word. We're going to get into what makes Fallout 4 better and where Fallout 4 fell down on. But let's just talk about Fallout New Vegas. And you brought this up just a minute ago, and we talked about this a little bit last week, if you remember. When Fallout New Vegas first came out, people hated it.
It had some of the worst Fallout scores, didn't it?
Of course, it scored less on Metacritic than Fallout 3. It scored less on it scored, I believe, a 84 on Metacritic.
Granted, that's less than Fallout 4.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm going off the top of my head right now, but I know it scored less than Fallout 3 on Metacritic. But the point was, it was a buggy mess when it came out, and for the first year, people griped like crazy about it. And you know what the peer pressure was then?
It was horrible.
Yeah, and everybody wanted Bethesda again to make one. This is not near as good as Bethesda's game, okay?
And now no one talks about Fallout 3. It's all Fallout New Vegas.
It's all Fallout New Vegas.
You'll hear about it from time to time, but everyone talks about how Fallout New Vegas is the best Fallout game. And
my contention is, why can't we just love Fallout? Why can't we? I love Fallout 3 for its strengths and for its weaknesses. It makes it very unique. Do I like the green texture all over, and there's some other things that I would change about it, but that's what makes Fallout 3 Fallout 3. I love all of the Fallouts. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
So let's get off the hate train. Let's get on the Fallout 4, the Fallout love train.
Don't ever call it that again.
Okay, I won't ever say that again. We mentioned this last week. Do you know, and I know you do you know when everybody will finally love Fallout 4?
After the next Fallout game.
When Fallout 5 or whatever the next Fallout is, when they get on the peer pressure of talking bad about that one, everybody is going to pine for, how good Fallout 4 was. Now, go ahead.
Speaking of, it's kind of off the notes, and I'm sorry, but you think they're going to miss part of the DLC aspects of Fallout 4, like the customizing companions and everything from Automatron, the next Fallout game?
See, that's a very good point, and you get into some of Fallout 4's strengths, and if you don't mind me just kind of talking to answer your question and
perfectly fine.
Lead into the next thing. Some of the things that make me love Fallout that I actually believe make Fallout 4 better than some of the other ones. Of course, they changed the shooting mechanics. And I hear the people that are on the hate train saying, well, yeah, they did that. That is huge. That is like...
I've gone back and played, I tried playing Fallout 3 the other day, all the way through, and the shooting is terrible.
It makes it hard now to go back,
It is hard.
it?
Granted, in the moment, the first time you play it, it's all you know, so it's like, it's not bad, but it's playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3 versus Call of Duty 3 on PlayStation 2. Okay? It's completely different. It makes it so hard to do it.
And let's be clear, it's not just the age of it. The shooting mechanics of Fallout compared to the games of that era was bad.
Yes. The VATS was almost the only way you could shoot in that game.
Yes,
actually.
It was an absolute necessity.
Now, VATS, they've made it to where, I love that they changed it to where everyone doesn't just freeze.
There's
anymore.
another positive about Fallout 4.
Although all the wonderful...
Now they kind of go in super slow
all
motion.
the wonderful comics of just the super mutants sitting there, gone, but anyway, just... It makes it to where you want to actually shoot and aim more instead of just hit VATS and run and wait for your stamina to get back up and then just keep doing that. Makes it more immersive in my feeling, because I've gotten to where I barely use VATS. I use it for sniping maybe, but you don't use it for miniguns, rocket launchers maybe. I'll use it for, but usually I just use normal aiming personally.
Absolutely. And on that same line, what do you think about the new weapon customization?
So much better. Such a big improvement. And they got rid of weapon durability. I was never good at
some people say that that's a negative.
But that's just personal for me. I can see why it's a positive and a negative. Like, I would like it where in survival mode, you could choose to attach weapon durability. Like, at the start of the game, you could choose the settings and have weapon durability go onto it as one. That's what I think would be better. But personally, I like not having the weapon durability, because I like making a gun, and I get attached to my weapons. I only use 2 or 3 weapons through the game after, I don't know, getting the castle or so. Diamond City a few times, I'll get my weapons set for the game, and I'll be pretty much there.
I'm the same way. I got the Overseer's Guardian. Love that gun. Boy, it'd break my heart if it degraded. Now, some say, well, it makes it more immersive. I use weapons, and I hate to, put this out over the air. Yes, I have weapons. Don't break in my home, or I'll show you. But I have never, if you say, well, you have to upkeep them. Well, yeah, I clean them. That's about all the upkeep. I've never had springs break and all this other. And I do quite a lot of shooting, okay? So, no, I don't believe that's realistic, especially the way it was in the other Fallout. So, I think for the amount of time you're going to be playing...
Although you weren't shooting 1,000 rounds every day, so...
No, but I still don't think my gun's going to wear out where you can't even use it. But anyway, I mean, that's an argument, and I'm fine with that. And kind of like you said, that's a preference. I can see the positives on both sides. Maybe a little bit of it. Maybe if they would
loses damage.
Yeah, maybe if they wouldn't have made it so drastic, it would be better. But the customization in the weapons is wonderful in Fallout 4. The amount that you can change the weapon to make it fit your playstyle. Again, I know that's not classic RPG elements, but it is a choice that you're making to make the game like you want it. So that is part of the role-playing, okay? It's according to how you define the RPG there. Within Fallout 4, there's a lot of things where you can make that game very, very personal. You can role-play in a way that you couldn't in Fallout 3 and in Fallout New Vegas.
The settlement building, for instance, every time you start a new game of Fallout...
Oh, this is another one that is on the hate train.
I know, and I've never gotten it. I can get where people don't like it, but it's such a personalization of the game. Think about how many times you've played Fallout 3.
Is that not what role-playing is, though? Is making the game your own, making it a character that you want to be, making the game what you want it to be?
That's what I think of it as, but the thing is, I never get why people hate it so much, because every time you load into a game of Fallout 3, it's always, you could be the same character and you could be. Let me rephrase that. You could be 10 different characters at the same spot. You wouldn't know which one's which. In Fallout 4, you have landmarks that you make. It's always customized. It's personal.
Absolutely, the game will be totally different.
The first 5 times of playing Fallout 4, I would only go to the castle, and I would build there. But every time I could tell which one it was just because of how different I would make each and every castle.
According to the character
way
you
I was
had.
playing. I had a backstory in my, although I don't like the backstory they give you in the game, but I would have a backstory in my mind and how he felt, and it was just so personal. You don't get that with the other Fallout games, in my opinion.
Okay, you brought up the backstory. That's another thing that they hate on Fallout 4.
That's one thing I very strongly dislike, yes.
And I agree, but Fallout 3 had the same thing. The whole start of the game, you knew your father. I mean, your whole story was set.
The only thing I could say to be devil's advocate for the other side is you're growing up. You're not set right before. You didn't already have a career. You're set to where you can figure out your career.
Well, actually, spoilers, you're actually a synth in Fallout 4, so you can be whatever you want to be, right?
Oh, that's up for debate. You never know.
No, I'm teasing on that one. But you make a great point with these role playing elements, you know. And again, I think these are more talking points for people instead of the way they truly feel. They're trying to find reasons to hate on Fallout 4, and I think that's silly. It's great if Fallout New Vegas is your favorite. That's wonderful. Let me get off these games for a minute and use an example. Let's talk about the PlayStation Xbox One debate. Have you noticed how this debate rages on social media?
Always does.
Yeah, one's better and one's better. Why can't you just like the one you like? You know, right now, I hate that Xbox don't have enough games. I can see that. I own an Xbox, and I wish they had more games. Does that make PlayStation better? In that aspect, it does. But let me tell you what, when I go to mod my Fallout 4 or my Skyrim, my Xbox is a lot better than my PlayStation. Make sense?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense, but I guess it's like, there's been console wars since the beginning of consoles. Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo are the two big ones.
Well, let me go back before you were born. The actual first one was Atari and a television, but
well, yes, but everyone
that's for another generation.
Everyone remembers the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis as the two mains with Sonic and Mario.
What do you mean everybody remembers? You make me sound old.
Well, you're the guy with a Sega Genesis who can't remember a single game he owned. Okay?
Well, okay, so I am a little old.
Just a little.
What's your point?
Well, I'm just... People are always going to find something to complain about or say theirs is better. They've had...
Exactly. Stop right there. You hit the point. But this is the problem with social media today. Somebody starts complaining, another one jumps on that bandwagon, then another one jumps on, another one jumps on, then that becomes the way we all have to feel because Mr. Cool Man over here feels that way. Well, you know what? I don't want to feel the way Mr. Cool Man feels. I like Fallout 4 and get off my back.
You don't want to be Mr. Cool Man?
I am Mr. Cool Man. Come on.
You are Mr. Cool Man.
I am Mr. Fan Man, Cool Man. I don't know.
Mr. Cool Fan Man.
Back to Fallout 4, though, and I was teasing with that, even though I do have a lot of passion about this, as you can see. Now, not only the weapons, but you even get into the apparel. There are a lot of apparel customization in Fallout 4.
You can't do it to the extent as a lot of people would like, or at least I would like, but it's not bad. It's better than any sandbox game. It's better than Skyrim for sure. You can customize how it looks.
Even though I love the smithing and armors in Skyrim, but yes.
Oh, I remember. You and me, we used to have contests trying to get smithing up to 100. We would have archery up to 100, alchemy. We would just do all the skills, trying to race each other. I remember. I have fond memories of doing that. What were we talking about? I got off track.
I don't know. We can just sit here a minute. I'm teasing. We're talking about Fallout 4, the customizing of the armors and the apparel. But you mentioned something else right there, and let's just go ahead and jump into this too. I was thinking there, you said we can't do it as much as we want. Well, how about the mods that are now available on console? That is another huge, wonderful thing that they did for Fallout 4.
It's amazing. I mean, Fallout 4 is not the first to have console mods, but it is the one that is credited with perfecting it. Well, not perfecting it, but having the best. Oh, I can't remember what the game was, but I remember it was the first. I think it was PS2, maybe PS3 had console mods.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about this the other day. The mods, you can look it up if you want to. The mods make such a difference, and in fact, I have to confess this to the audience. I had a PS4, and we were. Of course, I was playing on computer, but we also had a PS4 at home, and we were playing Fallout 4 on both of them. And then it came time for the mods, okay? And we got so excited. Of course, the PCs always had the mods. Well, the Xbox got their mods, and then word came out, the Sony's not going to get mods. Man, were we upset.
And we held out hope for a little bit. We waited, what was it, 6 months, 7 months after?
Yes, waiting on the mods, and finally we traded the PS4 in on an Xbox just for the single fact of being able to get mods. And even today, the PlayStation does not have mods to the same way.
They're not they have to use assets from the game. You can't
Yes.
have customized assets.
Absolutely, but the mods make such a difference.
In case you want to know, the game I was talking about was Unreal Tournament 3 on the PS3, released in 2007.
So that's the first one that had mods on the console.
First video game to have console mods.
There you go. Say that game again.
Unreal Tournament 3 for PlayStation 3, released in 2007.
Now you can stump your friends tomorrow with that trivia question. What is the first game on console to have mods? Now you know. Thank you, Wolfman.
You're very welcome for that useless fact of the day.
Absolutely. Are there anything else that stand out that Fallout 4 did better than Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas? One to me is, while you're thinking, is the depth that the NPCs had.
That's what I was going to talk about. And I don't know what the word is, how they overlay into the DLC. I remember, I don't know if I talked about this last week. I remember talking to you about it after or right before the podcast last week. But there's a guy right outside the city ruins by the castle who will sell you a credit card thing for about 500 caps.
And you can use it in Far Harbor.
In Far Harbor, you can use it at the synth store.
But you couldn't use it anywhere else.
You couldn't use it anywhere in the game.
The way in Fallout 4 the characters had such a integral backstory that played into the storyline. I loved it, and you had special quests with all of them. I just thought it was much deeper than the other two Fallout games. I just thought it was a strong point for Fallout 4.
Well, New Vegas had Boone, the sniper. He had some good depth.
And again, I'm not hating on the others. I just want to show you that Fallout 4 has a lot of strong points. Of course, Fallout 4's graphics were better. There's another, that's an easy one to see. But what we've been talking about so far, and we need to speed along, is how Fallout 4 has been better. And I know some people have already probably gotten mad and turned it off. Please understand, I'm just pointing out that Fallout 4 did have a lot of strengths, and it doesn't deserve the hate that it's getting. Now, with all that said, did Fallout 4 do anything wrong?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't like the communication system.
Oh, the speech system is awful. Now let's
let's have one word for 20 sentences.
I believe even Todd Howard admitted that the speech system was awful. Not knowing what you're going to say, it gives you a word and you kind of have to guess what the character is going to respond. That was awful.
You kind of hope and pray that they don't say something too bad.
Yeah, that was awful. What did you think about the voice protagonist?
I like it, but I wish you could change it more. I wish it wasn't just the one or two.
Now,
I wish you could...
Go ahead.
I don't know how to explain. I wish there were more options.
Well, this is... I kind of fall into what I kind of was blaming other people for. I am so used to a Bethesda game not having a voice protagonist that's what I like, and I guess I'm used to. I didn't mind the voice protagonist.
It shows better emotion instead.
It does, but I would probably prefer, if I was going to make one, or if Bethesda was listening to me and I said, and they wanted me to tell them exactly what to do, I would probably not have it in the next one. That's just me, though.
Yeah, but it's kind of a progression that's the games as a series are going to make sometime. So I think better to do it now and perfect it than do it later and it be like Fallout 4's.
Absolutely. What about the karma system? That's another one of the reasons that Fallout 4 gets hate, because they took the karma system away.
I wish they did have the karma system. I wish.
Now,
don't know how
I
to say
do like how it works with the NPCs, that what you do directly affects who you're with. I love how they did that.
That's great.
But I wish they wouldn't have taken the karma system away. I don't know if there's a way to make both of them work together.
One thing I missed from New Vegas is if you wore the uniform of the NCR and Caesar's Legion, they would kill you or would punish you, and vice versa.
Or you could put on the uniform of the enemy and sneak in.
I
Absolutely.
wish you could do that. Like if you were wearing just because the two that dislike each other the most are Institute and Brotherhood. Let's say you were wearing a suit of Brotherhood power armor into the Institute, you'd get attacked. Or if you were wearing a synth outfit onto the Brotherhood airship, you'd get attacked.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. See, and that's what I was saying. Each of the games has their own strong points. And as I've said many times, we love all Fallouts on this channel. What about the perk system? There's another way that Fallout 4 gets hated on.
I like the perk system in Fallout 4 better. I like how you can. It's less confusing.
Wait a minute.
It's more direct.
You just said that you like Fallout 4's better?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I like that it's more direct and you can plan better.
See,
at least for me, it's harder to do the New Vegas Fallout 3.
Well, see, the hate train says that Fallout 4 dumbed it down.
Yes, it did. That's what I like about it.
So it made it easier.
It made it easier to understand for me. Yes.
I've heard that ever since Morrowind in the Elder Scrolls games, that they're dumbing it down every time.
Granted, Skyrim and Oblivion is a big contrast in how your character develops.
But I really enjoyed how Skyrim did it, where what you directly did, in other words, if you used one-handed weapons, that's what leveled up. If you used the bow, that's what leveled up. I thought that was a wonderful way to do it. But I don't mind the perk system in Fallout 4 either.
I like it.
Again, maybe a combination of both. Maybe they could bring some of those other elements back. But
I like how well they integrated that in the customization.
Some of the things that they talk about being dumbed down, and I know I might get hate for this, but some of those things I believe are unnecessary that they got rid of. It was scrap. Oh well. I can just hear the rage out there. Now, I do wish...
You can see the steam coming off the computer monitor.
I do wish there were more cities in Fallout 4. I believe that was a weakness in Fallout 4.
I think the reason they didn't do it was because you were supposed to build your own cities. I think that's why they didn't have many.
Absolutely, and I do understand that.
But I think of Fallout 4 not as the quintessential Fallout game. I think of it more as a testing period for that. I'd rather them test it and be a good game, so the next game can be great and marvelous. Like I want there to be settlement building in the next game.
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't want to be where every single mission the Minutemen have are go build this settlement or go build a radio beacon at this settlement that you're never going to use.
Right.
Or hey, we're taking over the castle and this is the only mission you ever need to do for us.
Right.
That's how I feel about the Minutemen.
Absolutely.
That's usually what I use them for.
Let me just cut to the chase. Is Fallout 4 a good game?
Why are you asking this question?
Because I have an answer.
Well, I have an answer too. Yes, it is.
But I have the correct answer.
You're
No.
saying I'm wrong.
Yes, Fallout 4 is not a good game. It is a great
This is
game.
blasphemy. Oh, well, okay.
I'm tired of hearing this Fallout 4 is a good game, but it's not a good Fallout game. Again, this is all just peer pressure and hate train. Fallout 4 is a good game. It is a great game, and it is a great Fallout.
I think if it was a game made by any other studio as their first game, it would be hailed as an amazing, breathtaking, revolutionizing game. Revolutionary.
You just made a new word. That's great. No, you just made a great point that leads right into my next question. Do you believe the next Bethesda Game Studios game will be subject to this much hate? In other words, the next Elder Scrolls that comes out.
After Skyrim, yes, I think so. Because the amount of
love
and how high of a pedestal Skyrim has been put on, being how much it's loved. People who've never played Bethesda games know about Skyrim, have heard about Skyrim.
Is there anything we can do to stop the peer pressure? Because it seems to be affecting everyone. Like I talked about the YouTubers that loved Fallout 4, but they got so much pressure and were called fanboys for liking it. You can call me a fanboy if you want to. I know what a good game is, and I know what a bad game is. I can tell that Fallout 4 has just as much RPG as Skyrim does. I can tell the problems with Fallout 4, but I can still tell you it's a great game. So what can we do about this? I hate to see Bethesda, this pattern that's going on with the fans.
You gotta feel bad for the people at Bethesda, because think about how much time and heart and soul they pour into these games, and then just to hear this about them over and over and over again. You gotta feel bad for them, because it's not the majority of people. It's not how they either not how they feel, or it's not a majority, and it's just a very loud minority.
I believe you're absolutely right. You made a point last week that you thought a silent majority liked the settlement building, and I think you just summed it up there. I believe there is a silent majority that loves Fallout 4, and you can look at every professional review, the glowing endorsements, the near-perfect games, and you can see whether it's a good game or not. Now, if you want to get on the hate train and call me a fanboy, that's fine, but Fallout 4 is a great game, and it's a great Fallout game.
If you look up on Safari on the iPhone right now for Fallout 4 review, the first thing that comes up is Fallout 4, the picture of it, and it has 4.5 stars as its review.
Absolutely. So my advice, as we're ending this part of the podcast, we're going to finish up with what's going on in the news. Please do not allow peer pressure to influence you. Even me, okay? Don't allow peer pressure to influence what you love in a game. If you played Fallout 4 and you loved it, then don't let any review or any person tell you that it's a bad game. And that applies for any game for that matter. Don't get caught up in this new social media talking point, hate train, peer pressure. Now that's enough for my rant today. It is fake news, absolutely fake news. Don't get caught up in the fake news. Okay, with all that said, I hope you enjoyed that.
We just made some people mad, I guarantee.
Well, that's all right. Y'all can move on along to somebody else. There's a bunch of haters out there, so y'all can go to a hate channel.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to make people mad, aren't I?
You're going to really make some people mad.
You know what, though? I bet there's people out there cheering as well, and they're going to say in the comments.
I guarantee there are people laughing just as much as I am.
Absolutely. Let's talk about...
I got a tear coming.
Let's talk about what's going on in the news. There is so much happening in the news. The Walmart leak, over 40 games, what do you believe? Real or not? I believe it's real just because...
I believe someone has lost their job.
Absolutely.
Or a few people.
I mean, Walmart already responded and said, oops, a glitch did it, but then they added the little thing, this was just a speculation of what might come out.
Why, okay, as a store, why would you...
No, they are not...
They're just trying to do... Because isn't it only allowed by law for the developers to... not law, but...
I'm sorry, you know what hit my mind?
What?
The little old person at the front of the store, you know, that greets you when you come into Walmart. I can see that his other job is speculating on what games are going to come out this year. That's his job, and he's the one that made...
The 90-year-old man with a bell and some stickers.
No, these were not speculations. This is what they have already been told. If you don't know, stores are told beforehand what is coming out so that they can prepare to sell it.
Hence why a lot of gaming websites have
leaks.
Shut down for renovations.
Absolutely. You know, they're not going...
Always happens this time of the year.
Walmart's not going to find out that they're going to be selling Rage 2 the day it comes out. Okay, they already know, and Bethesda's told them. So, of course, it's real. Walmart responded, and Bethesda responded. So we are getting Rage 2.
But Bethesda commented about Rage 2 being the wrong... Or not Bethesda, but it was commented that Rage 2 is in the wrong font.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I found that one funny.
Yeah, Pete Hines did it. I call him Tweet Hines now.
That's clever.
He is Tweet Hines, yes, because he's been tweeting a lot lately. And he poked fun a lot at... You know, one person's asked Pete about Doom. Is Doom not going to have a sequel this year? And he said, why don't you ask Walmart to get their Magic 8-Ball and shake it and tell you.
So that's funny.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. So what do you think about all these pictures that Bethesda's been tweeting? Is this Rage 2 only, or are there other clues within those pictures?
Well, as a colorblind American, I find it deeply offensive.
that they're going with the pink motif this year.
I really thought it was purple.
Purple?
I thought it was purple at first.
I do believe all the pictures have a Rage theme about them, but I do believe there are some other hints in there. There's the crosswalk in Japan. There's been some rumors about a game called Crosswalk that is, or Crosswalks or some Crossroads or something like that.
Chased by Hellhounds.
Yeah, that's in the works. If it's Ralph Macchio with the guitar, then we're gonna know that only.
And I'm glad you remembered his name. I was trying to think of it.
Only older people are gonna understand that reference or get that reference. Of course, when the rocket ship was on there, we all started screaming Starfield because we want it so bad.
I still think it's a Prey DLC.
We know we're getting a Prey DLC. Now we know we're getting Rage 2. And Monday, by the way, that'll be tomorrow. Now, since it's so late, we're doing this podcast. Tomorrow, we are going to be getting something from Bethesda because, 514.
It's in almost every picture.
So you watch for trailers to come out tomorrow. Hopefully I know we'll get a trailer for Rage 2. Maybe we'll get something else. Maybe we'll get word on Starfield. Again, I'm going to ask you. I have to ask you before we're done. Do you believe Starfield is a real game?
I still think it's a DLC for Prey. That's still what I think it is.
So you don't think we're getting Starfield?
I would love for it to be its own IP, but I'm not holding out hope.
Then do you?
I know they're everyone thinks it mainly because they say they have 2 new IPs.
Right.
But I have a gut feeling it's not Starfield. I just have a feeling about it.
Well, do you think it's a Fallout? What do you think they're doing?
I don't know. Well, all I remember talk about Nuka World.
There was a rumor this week where somebody that supposedly was in the know said what Bethesda is releasing, people are going to fall out of their seats.
Oh, 1 word or 2 words?
He said it in 2 words, but you know why he said it.
That's very specific.
Is it possible we're going to be getting a Fallout 5 or a Fallout spinoff this year?
I could see a spinoff. Definitely not another main series number game, I don't think.
I don't know what I'm going to do with all these good games that are coming out that I've got to play, I've got to review, I've got to talk about.
I know the people in Africa going starving are just... They're glad they ain't got your situation.
Absolutely. When am I going to have time to sleep? When am I going to have time to eat? Oh, bless those people hard. I don't want to make fun of them at all. Well, what's left for us to say in this podcast? What do you think about what's going to happen tomorrow with May 15th and what we're going to see coming out of E3?
Well, I'm mad that I got to go to school with no internet.
I will tell you as soon as you get home. And by the way, if you hadn't subscribed now, please do, because things are going to be blowing up by this time tomorrow, because we're going to know something.
Just right after.
And hopefully we'll have a trailer. We'll be breaking it down on this channel. And by the way, a good time to plug it here toward the end. Subscribe, make a comment down below, a nice comment, please. And also say you want a t-shirt if you want a chance to win that King Fan Man t-shirt.
I'm going to make a new account just so I can get
Boy, everybody's going to be mad if they see Wolfman walking around in a t-shirt and nobody else gets one. I will get you a t-shirt. How's that?
No, you won't.
I will get you a t-shirt, but
Sure.
yet we're still going to give away another t-shirt on June 10th. So if you want a chance to win that, make a comment. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we end this podcast today?
2 + 2.
2 + 2 equals... See, you're making me do math again. Don't do that. No.
I'm telling you.
That's why I wanted to review Bethesda games and make YouTube videos. I didn't want to do math anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot you didn't get your GED. I'm sorry.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Well, I don't know if I want to say enjoyed. I hope you got something out of this podcast.
I hope you listened to the podcast without punching your computer monitor.
Absolutely. Whether you agree or disagree, I'm so glad that you watched this video, listened to our podcast. I'm so glad that you are a part of this channel. And please stick around. A lot more coming from the King Fan Man Radio podcast. A lot more coming from the King Fan Man channel. Wolfman, it was so good to be with you again. I love these times that we sit down and talk, and I can't wait for next week already.
Oh, I can't wait either.
What do we got on the docket next week? Something that's hot, something that is going to make people upset again?
Hopefully not. Our Skyrim experiences.
Well, that sounds good. We'll do that, and of course, we're going to talk about more E3.
Any new leaks that come out.
Yes, more E3 because E3 is getting closer and closer and closer and closer.
And I just get back a few days before E3, so I'm happy.
Absolutely. Well, it has been so good being with you, Wolfman. See you next week, buddy.
See you, bud.
I am the King Fan Man. I will see you guys next time.